Owning your own home, it's the big dream for so many of us, right? And let's face it, in this market, teaming up with friends or family feels like the only realistic shot we have. But what if I told you there's a little sentence tucked away in most of those agreements that could literally put your entire financial future on the line? Yeah, let's get into it. I mean, seriously, buying a house right now can feel impossible. The prices are just wow. And trying to scrape together that huge deposit, it's a mountain. Trust me, you are not the only one feeling this way. And that's exactly why people are starting to think outside the box. And one of the most popular outside-the-box ideas is this: pooling your power. You've probably heard about it, maybe called property share. It's where you team up, combine your cash with friends or family, and buy a place together. And just like that, a door that seemed totally locked suddenly swings wide open. So what is it exactly? Well, a property share loan lets you and your co-borrowers, your partner, your best mate, your sibling, whoever, buy a place together. The big selling point? You split the huge costs, but you get to keep your own loans and your finances totally separate. Sounds pretty perfect, doesn't it? Like, what's not to love? And when you look at the benefits, it's easy to see why it's so popular. You can get your foot in the door with a much smaller deposit, which means you start building that sweet, sweet equity way sooner. You can slice up the costs however you want. Heck, one of you can get a fixed rate loan, the other can get a variable rate. It's all good. It really feels like the best of both worlds, teamwork and your own financial freedom. But you knew there was a but coming, right? And this brings us to the most important part of this whole deal. The part that almost everyone misses, because it's buried in the fine print. And trust me, it changes everything. There it is. Just read that for a second. When you sign up for one of these loans, you're not just a co-borrower. You're signing a guarantee. And that one little sentence is a legally binding promise that says, hey, if my buddy can't make their payments, don't worry, I'll pay for them. So let me put this in really simple terms. That whole idea of separate finances, it's a bit of a myth. It only works as long as everybody is paying their share. The second one person stops paying, that guarantee obligation kicks in. And legally, you are no longer responsible for just your half. Nope, you are now on the hook for 100% of the debt, the whole shebang. And if you can't cover their payments on top of your own, which, let's be honest, most of us can't, the fallout is brutal. The lender can actually force you to sell the property. You could lose your home, lose all the money you've put in, and to top it all off, your credit report gets torched for years to come. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. That's a long shot. I trust the person I'm buying with. And I get that. But life? Well, life has a funny way of throwing curveballs when you least expect it. So let's just walk through a couple of super common scenarios to see how this all plays out for real. Okay, scenario number one. Imagine your co-owner, your best friend, loses their job completely out of the blue. They've always been rock solid with money, but right now, they've got no income. They literally can't make their half of the mortgage payment. So what happens now? Boom, that guarantee you signed, it activates immediately. As far as the bank is concerned, there are no longer two separate loans. There's just one giant loan, and they are looking at you to pay all of it. The whole shared responsibility thing is out the window. It's now 100% your problem. All right, let's try another one. Your co-owner gets a dream job opportunity and moves overseas. Awesome for them. For the first few months, everything's fine, the money comes in, and then one day, it just stops. They're on the other side of the world, not answering calls. Surely you're not still on the hook, right? Oh, you absolutely are. That legal document doesn't care about time zones or postcodes. The lender is going to come after the person they can find, and that's you. Your co-owner's location doesn't change your legal responsibility one tiny bit. Let's look at how this works with some actual numbers. So we've got a couple, Owen and Luna, buying with their friend Dylan. The house is $550 grand. Owen and Luna take out a loan for their half, $250K, and Dylan takes out a loan for his half, another $250K. Looks perfectly even, right? 50-50? But now look at that bottom line, total exposure. Because of the guarantee, Owen and Luna aren't just liable for their $250K, they're on the hook for the entire $500K. And same goes for Dylan. That's the part that catches people. Okay, after all that, you're probably feeling a little bit stressed. And hey, that's totally fair. But look, this isn't meant to scare you off the whole idea. It's about making sure you go in smart, with a solid game plan, to protect yourself. So let's talk about that checklist. And let me be super clear. The point of this is not to say don't buy a house with someone. It can still be an amazing way to get on the property ladder.
The point is to make sure you walk into it with your eyes wide open, fully aware of all the possibilities, both the good and the bad.
So before a single piece of paper is signed, there are three things that are totally non-negotiable. One, every single person involved needs to get their own independent lawyer, not a shared one. Two, you'll sign a declaration saying you get the risks. And three, the big one, you must create a formal, legally binding co-ownership agreement. Think of this agreement as a financial prenup for your property. It's your rule book for all the what-if scenarios. You have to hash out the answers to all these awkward questions before they become real-life problems. I promise you, it is so much easier to agree on this stuff now when you're all still friends than it is to fight about it in the middle of a crisis. So that brings us right back to where we started. Co-ownership can be an incredible tool, but it ties you to your partners in a way that's much deeper than just splitting the bills. Now that you know the real weight of that hidden guarantee, the question is it still the right move for you?